I said
what I said.
Girl, stop playing. You know my
welcome back to another episode of I Said What I Said. It's your girl, Miss Didi Baybe, the Madam, the Miss, the Unicorn, and you are now tuned in to the most anticipated show on the internet right now, with the biggest female doing what I'm doing, how I'm doing, when I'm doing what I'm doing, big baby. Listen, today's show is gonna be a little unfiltered. I want to touch on a subject that has came up because of some posts that I posted online on Instagram. There was a lot of men that had some things to say out of context at that, because let me explain something. When you do not put context into something, or you don't have the context, it's your job to go and find out what it is, okay? And without you men folk even knowing what I was talking about, you niggas was attacking me. And then first and foremost, I wasn't even talking to the entire general public of men. I was specifically talking to the men and the women who were DMing me, okay? Who had a problem with the reels that I posted, okay? Those are the people that was my problem. All you extra men folk, y'all just, and you women, because it was men and women, okay? All you extra men folk that was in the comments and talking smack, you basically exposed yourself. You exposed yourself as to being a man without leadership because you had something negative to say about what I had to say. Okay, so I feel like that was your exposure. Okay, you put a stamp on your own self. Okay, I wasn't even talking to you. That's why I said hit dogs holler. At the end of the day, a hit dog gon' holler because they felt that. All right, and y'all felt it. That's the reason why you was so angry. That's the reason why you was so mad. Okay, you niggas was being sassy. I've never seen a group excuse me, I've never seen a more sassier group of men in my life, okay, as this generation. Okay, I look back at my uncles. I look back at the men folk that I used to be around playing basketball in the gym with. I've never seen a more sassier group of men in my entire life. Okay, you men folk are sassy. Y'all sassy and real fairy like. Okay, I it's beyond me. There's a small group of men out there who are not displaying these characteristics. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the men folk who are not displaying these sassy fairy characteristics. Okay, who are being real men. Okay, who are real men. Okay, shout out to y'all, okay, for being real men, so that women like myself don't have to be the man for you. Okay, no, hold on. Let's get into it. Let's get into it, okay? So today's conversation, we're gonna get a little deeper, okay? Let's go a little deeper about this, because I've been watching Blueface, Chrisean, and Nevaeh's circus unfold in 4K. All right, I've been watching the kick streams. I unintentionally got invested because it just kept popping up on my timeline. So now I have gotten back into watching the circus. I'm back watching the circus. Okay. And we got to talk about how toxic men love to throw around the phrase, you're acting like a man. The second a woman stops folding and matches their chaos, now she's acting like a man. But we need to address how this toxic mindset bleeds out into everyday life, and how miserable, hating ass, deplorable internet humans try to slap labels on women just because of a deep voice, a loud delivery, or pure unfiltered assertiveness. Okay, because there's a difference in trying to act like a man and being assertive, or if you talk loud in your delivery, okay, if you're very as a matter of fact, it doesn't matter about if her voice is a little bit more coarser than a regular female. I mean, what do you want? Do you want me to talk like this? Is this how y'all want me to talk? Y'all want me to talk like this? Because this is not how I talk. Okay, I don't talk like that. All right, that's not how I was raised. I'm from the southwest of Houston, Texas. I'm from 6300 West Belford, baby. Okay, I played basketball from the age of 9 years old until college, for real. Okay, like, let's be for real. All right, I'm a hood chick at the end of the day. All right, the way that I talk is the way that I talk. All right, this does not label me as anything other than a woman that has a hood sense of personality. Okay, I have a hood aesthetic. All right, that's the way that I deliver myself. Okay, like it or love it, I don't care at the end of the day. So let's pull up a seat because we are clearing up the confusion today, and we're going to get into it. All right. So let's quickly set up the stage of how we got here, because last weekend, Blueface was in Southern California for a performance. Chrisean and him linked. She was out there. Okay. They were together with their son, and they were being a big happy family in San Diego. The police department pulled them over while they was on kick. Okay. They put the cuffs on Blueface, his whole crew and everything, and then they let them loose. Okay. Instead of taking a breath, Chrisean leaned into that. Okay. And at the end of the day, right? This is what I'll say about Blueface and Chrisean. They are a power couple. Okay. When they get together, everybody is paying attention. Okay. Everybody's paying attention. So when Chrisean got on live while they were streaming and millions of people were watching, she looked straight into the camera and said it with her whole chest that her and Blueface are bigger than Jay-Z and Beyoncé. All right, now let's be clear about that, okay? Because at first the internet was like really clowning her about that. You know what I'm saying? They were like, yo, y'all, you're delusional. Y'all are just messy, and y'all got this destructive lifestyle going on and this and that. But let's keep it a buck. What she actually said had truth in it, okay? They are bigger than Jay-Z and Beyoncé. They do not have to do a rollout. They don't got to do no stadium tour, okay? They don't got to do none of that. If you strip away the hood soap proper toxicity, the police stops, the cheating scandals, the live streams, if you strip away all the fighting and the drugs and the alcohol and all of that they had going on before now, because I can say now, Chrisean is in a better place in her life for shit show, okay? I can also say that Blueface is also in better places in his life. He still got some maturing to do, though. He's highly immature about a lot of things, okay? And he's holding on to grudges. And you can't move forward if you keep looking backwards. Wait a minute. Say that again for the people in the back. You can't move forward if you keep looking backwards, okay? At the end of the day, you got to let that shit go. Whatever happened while you was in jail, my homie, none of that matters anymore. Right now, what matters is your family, okay? Okay? When you strip away all of the bullshit, right, you get unmatched organic public engagement, for real, okay? I just told you. They've been on my timeline for the last week, okay? My mother, okay, Miss Olivier, okay, Minister Olivier sent me a reel about Blueface and Chrisean. Okay, so that lets you know up top, like, they are a trending pair. When they are together, we hear about Blueface and Chrisean the most. Okay. They can turn on their phone camera and they can command millions of live viewers. All right. The scale of their cultural footprint is extremely massive. Okay. They have a massive footprint. So I cannot deny that they are bigger, in fact, than Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Jay-Z and Beyonce have to make announcements because they don't do no internet popping. They don't really do a lot of marketing. Okay, we love them. They are our couple, right? Strange couple, but they the couple. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z and Beyonce go hard together. Strange, but they cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, B. I'm sorry, twin. Forgive me, okay? I'm just saying the the match is unheard of for me because as a fellow Virgo, I would have never picked him with them lips and that nose. But hey, to each their own. Okay, you like it, I love it, sister. Okay, at the end of the day, twin, you like it, I love it. Okay, her birthday is 9/4, mine is 9/5. That's how close we are together. Okay, it's not even a joke. They loved my little brother. I used to see them all the time at the Westland YMCA before they became Destiny's Child. We spent 2 hours on the phone in the Westland YMCA trying to get their single played from the Men in Black album, Killing Time. We was calling them over and over and over and over again. I kid you not. True story. Okay, ask her. Anyway, they have a massive footprint. Okay, and at the end of the day, right, the tragedy and the only difference between them and the Carters is the sheer toxic. If they could stop being toxic, if they had operational structure and peace, they will be exactly what she said, plus some. Okay, but instead of building an empire with that raw magnetism that they have, they use it to burn each other. They burn each other to the ground, and that's not how you do relationships and partnerships. Okay, that is not how it works. Teamwork makes the dream work. Of course, I'm on the outside looking in, and I do have to say this: we are talking about Blueface. He always has a plan, and I'm telling y'all, okay, y'all need to watch for the plot twist. I'm never wrong about this shit. I have yet to tell y'all something wrong, okay? Watch for the plot twist, y'all. The plot twist is gonna come, okay? I don't know where the plot twist is gonna hit at. However, what I have been saying is, anyway, I'll get into that. Nonetheless, right? So the reunion didn't even make it through the weekend before crashing down hard. By the time they hit the mall and headed to the restaurant, okay, this last time, right? The footage dropped showing Blueface completely flipping the switch on camera. Okay, he's been into his chat. He's accusing Chrisean of putting her hands on him and broadcasting the toxic breakdown. And right in the middle of the rant, what is the classic phrase that he drops? And he tries to invalidate her with this. He claims she was acting like a man. He used it as a weapon to strip away her accountability as a woman while trying to shrink her down because he couldn't handle the very energy and aggression that he invited into his life. He wanted her to play the submissive, quiet prop when it's convenient for his stream. Really on the cool, right? And I must say this, I completely understand how he feels, okay? But he should have, he has to learn how to communicate properly. Okay. Now, mind you, he's very upfront with these women that he deals with. And like he says, he is a delusional bitch's worst nightmare. Okay. However, you have a problem with communication, Blueface, because you could have communicated what you were trying to say way differently. I feel like that it wouldn't have spiraled. Okay. Because she's not comprehending even when y'all talked the second time, right? Over the phone. You kept asking her, what happened? Why was I mad? She could not say it because you did not communicate it properly, my guy. Okay? You didn't communicate it properly. Okay, your problem is that while you were in prison, she was live streaming with any and everybody. Okay, I'm talking about getting on the live stream with Trey Songs. She was on the live stream with Kai. She did the whole prison live stream thing with Kai. Okay, she jumped on the live stream with this person, that person, this person, that person. Now, y'all have the opportunity to rake in the money because y'all are Chrisean and Blueface and Chrisean, aka Blue Rock, okay? And y'all are a magnet. Y'all bring the people in. Y'all could have bust down a bag with this streaming thing, okay? And y'all still can, okay? Y'all need to have a real conversation and communicate properly, all right? But I also understand that he was angered about that because now that he's home, now you want to pull this whole I don't want to stream thing. Well, that's a bit strange. You were just in trying to stream at Dean and AB's warehouse with the boxing ring, and you got mad because Dean was all like, "No, you can't stream here," which I felt like that was some petty ass shit, Dean. Like at the end of the day, my guy, everybody eats, whether you like her or not. She was invited there by AB. It's only fair. Why can you make money off of her appearance on y'all's live stream and she can't live stream on her own shit and make money off of her own shit? Make that shit make sense, Dean. It doesn't matter if you're team Blueface. Guess what? Blueface is team Chrisean. At the end of the day, that is Team Chrisean. Okay, stop playing into what you're seeing and get with the program. What they say? No, ho ain't bigger than the program. You ain't bigger than the program, Dean. Don't do that shit no more, man. You supposed to stay non-biased, okay? You supposed to stay non-biased, even if you are Team Blueface. You stay non-biased when it comes to the money because the money is green. The money is green. You and Chrisean and AB could have blasted off with the live stream, okay, that day. Had you not been in your motherfucking feelings about whatever you was in your feelings about, because apparently you was feeling some kind of way about how AB was interacting with Chrisean. Chrisean is really doing this boxing shit. You're just playing, my nigga. Like, come on. Don't be like that, okay? Y'all want AB to get better, right? Y'all want him to stop drinking. Y'all want him to be, impart into the other boxers, impart into the next generation. But goddamn, give him the opportunity to do it because you was shutting it down left and right, and that shit was weird. That was some weird, sassy ass, fairy ass shit, my guy. You was acting like a fairy in real time. And I said what I said. You was acting like a fairy. So back to Blueface and Chrisean, right? They get to the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? He gets out. He's mad about her saying that she doesn't want to stream, which I understand her part because y'all have not been spending a lot of time together. Okay, y'all just kind of started linking up again, bro. And at the end of the day, right? She wants to have that quality time without the fans first. Let's get this shit out the way. Let's rekindle. Let's reconnect. Let's see where everybody is in their life right now. Okay, because I'm sure that she's full. And I also understand her at not wanting to stream right then because she knows that your baby mama is sitting at the house with her voodoo ass watching the stream. And we gonna get into it. Okay. So you immediately say that she is acting like a man. Okay. You get over there. Now you're calling her all kind of bitches and this and that. Nigga, you never do that shit. Come on now. Come on, Blueface. That immediately sparked a red flag in my head about that situation. Okay. I feel like that you were trying to save face. You knew that Nevaeh was watching that live, okay? And you knew that the last time that she was watching, she had an issue with you not handling Chrisean the way that you, but you still didn't call you tried to call her a bitch. You called her an indirect bitch. You never called Chrisean a bitch to her face, my nigga. You never did that shit. Okay? You indirectly called her a bitch, and then you called her a bitch as you was away from her. But still, it's the fact that you even did that shit, my nigga. That shit was like traumatizing on the cool, okay? Because what the fuck? You never do that shit, my nigga. You never do that shit. And you was doing that shit, bro. And I felt like it was an act, okay? I felt like you was trying to save face, knowing that Nevaeh and her mom are at home, knowing that you could not stay with Chrisean. I felt like your frustration level with the situation that you put yourself in, okay, with this woman, Nevaeh. Now your wife gotta be away from y'all house because you to move Nevaeh up in y'all house. But Chrisean said she gonna be at the new house, so boom. Anyway, I'm gonna get into it. Listen, you, y'all, hold on, y'all. Let me fix my light. Okay, so you get to the restaurant. Now y'all are arguing in public. Hated it because what? Why are you doing that? Okay. I completely understood Chrisean's point of view. She didn't want to be in the camera. She was just going to leave you alone because you were obviously upset about something. So she decided to distance herself, which makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I always say, if we married and you getting tired of me, you better go your ass in the other room and take a nap. So I feel like that she created the distance that pissed you off even more. Okay. And you told her to leave. You told her to go home. Okay. And y'all got into, I feel like Chrisean, though, my nigga, you gotta learn how to shut the fuck up. When a man is upset like that and he's going on and on and on, shut the fuck up. Don't say nothing, okay? It's nothing else to be said. You said what you said. He said what he said, and he's continuing to say what he say. You don't have to ask him if he all right because you know damn well that he's not all right. So why do you keep asking him if he's all right? You're gonna keep asking him if he's all right, and that shit is gonna piss him off even more. So shut the fuck up, okay? Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing at all. You gotta learn this, mama. You gotta learn this. You gotta learn when to shut the fuck up. And I feel like that's for all women. We got to learn how to shut the fuck up sometimes because silence is our best weapon. A lot of times it gives that man time to process what the fuck he's doing, process what the fuck he's saying. Does it make sense to you? She's not even saying anything. She's not rebuttaling. She's not going back and forth. Okay? We got to learn to shut the fuck up. So he decides to tell her while she's waiting on him. She's like, listen, I'm not going to go outside. And while I'm waiting on my Uber, I got my son. So he says, well, fine then. We're leaving. Sassy ass shit. That was some sassy ass shit. And he leaves. Okay. And he leaves her at the restaurant. Sassy ass shit in real time. Okay. He left her stranded while streaming the whole thing. And Chrisean is crying about this, okay? Because it was fucked up, all right? When men throw around that acting like a man cop out on a live stream, is directly mirrors what happens in everyday life when internet trolls try to box in confident women. What are you saying, Didi? When a woman speaks her mind, has a low tone, or stands her ground with absolute authority, they love to cry out that she's stepping out of pocket. Let's be clear about something right off the gate, okay? Having a voice, being loud, being assertive, or having bass in your tone does not make you a man, okay? That is just a woman with a spine. Okay, she's very, as a matter of fact, about herself. Okay, and let's take it a step further, because some of these hating as deplorable humans on the internet love to run their mouths and try to label a woman a stud just because she commands a room or speaks with authority. Let's make this clear right now, because some of us could never be a stud. Uh-huh. Yeah. Because first of all, I'm finding a bitch. I'm finding a bitch. Okay. I don't have daddy issues. I've never been molested, and I am not attracted to women. And second of all, my coochie is way too good to be bumping cats with another woman. No disrespect to the lifestyle whatsoever. Live your life. Do what works for you. But this ain't that. This ain't that. People love to project their own confusion onto a confident woman because they don't know how to handle someone who isn't intimidated. You can't intimidate me. Now, I understand that I can be highly intimidated. I project intimidation. Okay? I make people feel intimidated. Okay? But I can't be intimidated. So, what does a woman actually acting like a man look like? What does that look like? If that's just a confident woman speaking her mind, what does it actually look like when a woman is truly moving and operating with masculine energy in her day-to-day life and relationships? What does that look like? When a woman is truly operating in a masculine spirit, right? The communication itself, okay? It's not about having a deep voice or being loud. It's about a rigid, combative, ego-driven need to dominate every interaction. She approaches conflict like a street brawl. She refuses to yield. She will weaponize every detail and trying to out alpha everyone in the room instead of communicating with emotional intelligence. In relationships, she constantly competes with her man. She tries to wear the pants, micromanages every move, refuses to trust leadership, and constantly challenges his authority because she operates under the belief that she has to protect and provide for herself. She moves with a defensive armor that completely blocks out softness or vulnerability. That brings us right to the core of what it means to be an alpha female. Let me make this plain. I am an alpha female. That means I could never be dominated by another female. And I could never be dominated by a man that is not an alpha male. Period. And if the man, can tell me what to do, it's because he can tell me what to do. Okay? He's earned the right to do so. He is a true leader, a provider, a protector. A real alpha man doesn't need to yell, belittle, or control through fear. His structure, his strategy, his execution commands respect naturally. So if a man is that, then guess what? I'm soft. I can't dominate over him. Okay? Even though I am an alpha female, okay? That doesn't mean that I'm dominating over the alpha male. Absolutely not. That can't happen, okay? Because if he is a true alpha male, then there's no way that I can ever dominate over him. When you are with a real man who operates in his purpose, he puts you in soft spaces. He will never have you sitting in survival mode, stressing over the basics, or having to mother, or raise a grown ass man. He handles the outside world so you can rest. So you can create and you can flow in your natural femininity. That is the difference between a real king and a clown running a circus. Now, let's bring it back home to how this plays out in real time, because the moment Blueface walks back into his house after the weekend that he spent with Chrisean, right? He walks upstairs. He sees Nevaeh's little boy in the bed. He's like, "Where's your mom?" Goes in the closet, okay? And first of all, let me say this. Nevaeh is heavily pregnant and she is in the middle of a completely different kind of survival mode, okay? Now, I don't know if she's dumb or not, all right? Um I don't know if she's dumb or not, okay? I don't think that it's one thing for my nigga to be in communication with a bitch and getting her purse, okay? But it's another thing for my nigga to be running around fucking other hoes, all right? And you know that your nigga is running around fucking other hoes, all right? So I feel like that's a different type of survival mode. I don't know if she's doing this because she has nowhere to go, okay? Or what, all right? But it's no way, okay? Anyway, the internet has been an absolute frenzy over Nevaeh's moves, indeed, especially with social media sleuths digging deep into her spiritual practices, trying to understand what it is that she does. Okay, now he walks into the closet and she has built an altar in his house. A very dangerous situation. Okay, very dangerous. All right. When it comes to spiritual things like this, that is a very dangerous thing to have going on in your home. Okay. uh from what I saw and listening to her conversation about her spiritual lifestyle, she is practicing EFI, but she is also doing hoodoo on the back end of it. And I just want to say that that's dangerous because you are playing with spiritual realms that I feel like you really don't have no idea of what you have going on. Okay. I feel like you are opening a portal in this man's house to be terrorized by these spirits. Okay. You guys need to be careful. All right. Blueface, you need to be careful for shit show. And if I was you, I would tear that shit down. I would get that shit up out my house. Indeed. Okay. Because at the end of the day, right, you are the head of the household. It is your job to cover that house. Okay. If you believe in God and Jesus like you say you do, my guy, you know that that altar got to come down. It cannot be in your household or your whole shit gonna burn down. When you're dealing with a partner who is openly flaunting his ex on stream and he's making a mockery of y'all relationship and he used cheap deflections, people start questioning how anyone stays sane. uh Nevaeh catches heavy flack for this, like I was saying, okay? Standing by a man who is completely humiliating you in public, okay? Dealing with leaked call logs and trying to project an unbothered aesthetic while a literal circus performance outside your front door makes it look like she's fighting a losing battle. And I'm telling y'all, watch for the plot twist, okay? She's quote unquote carrying their child. Okay. Now, under a microscope, and it looks crazy. You know what I'm saying? Instead of peace, instead of being placed in a soft space, she gets a front row seat to Blueface's revolving door. Okay. Which has caused her to be completely angry. Okay. And let's speak of this lack of protection that Blueface has going on. We also have to address the commentary around the baby disabler remarks and how Blueface supposedly handled it. Okay, let's clear the air. All right, that little token pushback was not a checking. What he said to her was not considered a checking. Okay, people want to give Blueface credit for opening his mouth, but what he didn't come close to an efficient or genuine defense of his own flesh and blood. All right. Now she was like, I'm not talking about the baby, I'm talking about her. Well, if you're talking about her, you got to talk about him. Because if you go back and watch what was going on with them two during that time that she was pregnant. Blueface, you just as responsible for Junior's condition as Chrisean. Okay? If she was drinking and smoking and carrying on, you was enabling her to do it. You never once put your foot down and said hell to the no. You never once did that shit, my nigga. I never saw you do that shit. Not once. Not one time. Okay? You allowed for a lot to go on. Okay? It's no way that my baby daddy would have allowed me to do any of that with his child in my stomach. Okay? It's no way that would have happened. It's no way that would have happened. When someone is making reckless, damaging comments that directly impact or degrade a child, okay, a real man steps up with firm, protective boundary. What we saw was performative, okay? And it was weak. It was hollow and completely inefficient. It was not effective either, okay? It wasn't. You might have said that, and I'm sure that you might have had an in-depth and more detailed conversation about it later on when y'all got off alive, because I did see that after that, right, she stopped even trying to mention anything about Chrisean, which is fair. Stop playing with my wife and my son. That's fair for you to do that because that is your wife and your son. And it certainly didn't establish any real respect, though, because she did it out loud to the public. I felt like you should have checked her ass out loud to the public. You laughed, my nigga. That shit was unheard of to me. I was baffled. I watched this shit, okay? I watched y'all. And that shit was unheard of and baffling to me. It's no way. It was just another moment where Blueface proved he cares more about the content and the control, okay, than he does about the actual protection, okay? Because you're not protecting Junior in that aspect. That was really fucked up that she said some shit like that. And no, she didn't say it directly that Junior is disabled, but she inferred it because she said something about your wife, okay? At the end of the day, whether we're talking about the celebrity circuses on a live stream, internet trolls trying to box confident women into lazy stereotypes, or what it actually means to command respect as a real alpha female, the lesson is always the same. Know your worth. Demand true leadership and never settle for a clown. Will the circus ever stop? Probably the fuck not. Okay? He's making a lot of fucking money off of this shit. But as for me, I said what I said. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and tune in next time to another episode of I Said What I Said. Peace. I said
what I said.
Girl, stop playing. You know my